Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Hidayah Binti Mansor under the supervision Puan Izlin Binti Ibrahim. In this video, I would like to present my research proposal with the title Factors that affecting mental illness and social stress among students by using multiple regression model. Firstly, background of the study. What is mental illness and social stress? A mental illness is a condition that causes emotional, thinking, or behavioral changes. A combination of this condition can set it off. Next, social stress is the most common type of stress we encounter in our daily life. Social stress is a major factor in the complex and multifactorial exact cause of psychiatric disorders. The problem statement is students have no option but have to go through online class as a way to combat COVID-19. To overcome the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has mandated a nationwide school closure at home. Not to mention, students are mostly had no prior experience with online classes, but they are forced to normalize attending these virtual classes with little assistance. Hence, this new norm causes social stress among students because they are unable to interact physically with their friends. Next, students describe the abrupt change as both a threat and constructive challenge. As we know, e-learning had taken a toll on students' social and private lives. Students were having difficulties with these tough situations because they were not adequately prepared and given insufficient time to adjust to e-learning classes. Besides that, after attending several online classes, students have been complaining about how these situations drain their energy and they are emotionally exhausted by their workload. So, the main objective of the study is to identify the factors that influence mental illness and social stress among students during COVID-19. The specific objectives are to investigate the most important factor that influencing mental illness and social stress among students, and to clarify risk factor for both mental illness and social stress among students. The research scope is focused on the significant factors that influencing mental illness and social stress among UiTM students. Following that, the research looks into the background characters such as age, gender, education level, and UiTM campus. The study will use multiple regression analysis to conduct a correlation analysis and identify the demographic variables influencing this problem. Next, this study signifies researchers better understand the factors that influence mental illness and social stress among students during a COVID-19 pandemic. It will be able to recognize the student situations during this pandemic. Aside from that, this research is significant because it can identify the common social stress factor and develop mental health policies. There are three divisions of literature review. Firstly, mental illness and social stress issue during COVID-19 pandemic. Mental illness is like any other medical illness, implies that mental illness should be treated as such in the eye of the public. According to Asanaf 2021 study, students and teachers have proven to be adaptable with even students who do not have internet access at home, managing to participate in some remote learning. The researchers then discovered that approximately 1/6 of all students may be depressed, indicating the need for psychosocial support services. These sections reminds how our mental health can be affected by certain frequent events in our life. A family crisis, youth care, health problems, sexual harassment and violence may be trigger mental illness. According to the article, Effects on COVID-19 on College Students' Mental Health in the United States Interview Survey Study, the COVID-19 epidemic causes 138 students, which is 71% of the 195 students, experience higher stress and anxiety, according to Juice and Dickerson 2013. A variety of stressors have been identified as contributing to students' elevated levels of stress, anxiety, and depressive thinking. Multiple regression analysis can be used by researchers to assess the strength of the relationship between an outcome, the dependent variables, and several predictors variables. MRA can be used to calculate the sum of variance in the dependent variables that is compensated for by the difference in each independent variables. According to PACHELOR 2018, the coefficient of determination, R-squared, is a statistical metric used to determine how much variation in the independent variables can be explained by variations in the outcome. This is the theoretical framework of this study. Here, the dependent variables are the mental illness and the social stress. The independent variables are the demographic variables, which are age, gender, education levels, and the current semester. Next, social life, which is the first factors, increased class workload, the second factors, academic life, third factors, financial position, the fourth factors, and the last one is the family of the history of the mental illness. The population and sample in this study is defined as the total of students at University Teknologi Mara, Malaysia. The UiTM campus in Malaysia has 169,364 students. According to Robert V. Creed-C 2018, the sample size for this study is 384 students. As a result, when conducting inferential research, it is critical to have a sample that is free of bias. To put it another way, it should be representative of the general population. This study used the data using a self-administered survey. In the event of the researcher provide a brief explanations of the survey in advance to ensure that the respondents properly meet the survey's goal. Data were collected for about 20 days for this study. This study was carried out during the semester break because students was free to reply. The next section is research instruments. The questionnaire is divided into 4 sections, which are A, B, C, and D. Section A contains questions about the respondents' demographic. Then the statement on the dependent variables, which are mental illness and social stress, are included in the section B. This section scale is as follows. In the section C, the factors influencing mental illness and social stress during COVID-19, which included the closed-ended question with 5 Likert scales. Finally, the section D addressed the general issue of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pilot study where identified the reliability of observational method was evaluated. In the course of the pilot study, 30 students was selected to respond to the questionnaire. This has been done to ensure that the questionnaire are valid. In this study, pilot study data from UiTM students was collected, allowing for statistical analysis of the data. Several statistical analysis techniques including the descriptive analysis, reliability tests, and the multiple regression methods were used to investigate these factors. The descriptive analysis is presented in the form of a tabulation and a graphical data collected in Section A and the Section D questionnaire. Descriptive analysis are a type of a data analysis that can be explained, shown, and summarized constructively to describe the data. The reliability test is most commonly used when a scale questionnaire is reliable and valid for calculating the coefficient of reliability. Corn bar alpha is the most generally used in internal consistency metrics in research. In this study, 7 sets of the questionnaire must be tested for the reliability. 5 are from the independent variables and the 2 from the dependent variables. Here, the table of rules of thumb about the correlations alpha coefficient size. If less than 0.6, it is poor reliability, while more than 0.9 is the excellent reliability. Next, multiple regressions. This calculation demonstrates the relative importance of each independent variables in the relationships. So, this study will take into account 2 dependent variables. 2 multiple regression models will be proposed. First for the mental illness and the social stress for the second model. The R-squared coefficient determination is used to analyze explaining changes in a second variables. R-squared depicts the variation of Y% by X factors. That's all from me. Thank you for listening. Bye!